Welcome back, everyone, to Baseball Brain, the Miracle League of Mercer County podcast. I'm your host, Harrison Milo, alongside Dan Schweck and Julia Kadel, the Executive Director of the Miracle League of Palm Beach County, our guest for this episode. A repeat. We've already had her on once before, so we're starting to do a cycle here again.
Yeah, but this time we got Julia all by herself. It's all Julia all day for this episode. We're glad to have you, Julia. Welcome back.
Thanks, Kamish. Thanks, Harrison. Appreciate it.
So, Harrison, go ahead. Start it off.
So, the main reason why I wanted to have you on today was one of the biggest national events for any Miracle League National prep work that went into hosting that event.
Oh, great question. There was obviously a ton of prep work when you have over 600, 700 friends and family from 25 different states coming to visit you and play baseball for a weekend. Prep work was a lot. We started a year out planning our locations on where exactly we wanted to bring everybody, where we wanted them to see the highlights of Palm Beach County, South Florida. And we have a lot of great volunteers, which was very helpful. If you don't have the volunteers, you can't pull off something like we pulled off.
What did you have to do in order to prepare for this event?
What did we have to do? That's what you're asking is what exactly I had to do? So we had to secure our sponsors. Right, so you need funding to pull this off. So this event cost our league over $100,000 to put this event together. So we needed to get a lot of sponsors. So we needed to create awareness about what Miracle League is, and then what is a Miracle League All-Star. So we had to raise enough money to do that. The second thing we needed to do was secure the locations for our Friday welcome party and then our Saturday gala. We already knew where the games on Saturday were going to be, but the Saturday night gala we didn't know at the time. So we had to find 2 venues that were going to be exciting and could accommodate 600 to 700 people as well, and all of it to fit within our budget. So
I thought
that itself was a lot.
I thought the events are typically at the hotel. If the hotel has event space. But it sounds to me like you didn't do that type of,
You're absolutely right. I did not. I did not want to do the hotel route. And that's okay. Yes, a lot of the former All-Star hosts did it in the hotel, and it's easier to have it in the hotel, so that way nobody has to travel. But we were thinking, our team was thinking that everybody's coming to South Florida in November. Let's get everybody outside, enjoy the outdoors. So for Friday night, our first game, it was our game and our welcome party was at the Roger Dean Stadium. And this is where the Marlins and the Cardinals, their spring training games are. And we thought, how amazing would that be to be outside under the big stadium lights and for the competitive team to play. And then our Saturday night, one of the biggest things that we have here in South Florida, not just the beaches, but we have a huge equestrian village. And there's a whole place out in the west part of the county, and it's called Wellington. And so we ended up being able to host everybody outside, which was beautiful, at the Wellington International, the Equestrian Center. So we didn't go the hotel route. I think that would have been the safe move. But if anybody knows me, I normally don't play it safe.
And I feel like it's more cooler and more meaningful and more everything if you don't do it in the hotel.
I think so. Again, I love where I live, and I think a lot of people wanted to come to Florida because it's Florida. It's sunny Florida. So why would I keep everybody in a ballroom at a hotel? Everybody wants to go see the sights. I know I would. Let's put it that way.
I mean, I know I had a wonderful time, and the 2 families that we were lucky enough to take, and actually, the fact that we were able to take two families is a credit to you, Julia and Jeff, as well. Coming up here last year to surprise us in Jersey with our fundraiser event and inviting a second family to come down and helping us cover the cost of making that happen. That was super cool. So having the Mott family and having the Leda Delapo family come down and have two kids, two families down there, they got to experience more, right? By, like you said, you went so big, you went so big. I don't want to say better, but I mean it was just such a great experience to be able to get out and see all these different parts of South Florida. The venues were absolutely beautiful. I know I can say that. I don't think I'd be out of line speaking for either family there. It was just so cool. I mean, to get them to experience something that they may never get to see again in their lives. That was really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Dan, you went down early to help out starting. I want to hear from you what you did to help them.
So I was.
What did you do, Dave?
I don't know. What did I do? No, it was awesome. Becoming such good friends with Julia and Jeff these last couple of years. They invited me down to come down early a couple days and stay a couple days after the event too. So for the first couple days, I got to spend at Jeff and Julia's house and enjoy all of the benefits of that good food and good friendship and that beautiful backyard with the pool and the lagoon area. It's just so cool. But I'm going to tell you something. Julia put me to work. I was not just sitting around having Mai Tais. I'll tell you that. She gave me the keys to her Jeep, and I was running all over Palm Beach. There was a lot. I mean, you don't realize how much goes into the event, but just making sure that equipment is where it needs to be, knowing that okay, what do you have to plan for? It's South Florida, so there's always going to be rain in the forecast. And knock on wood, we only had like 5 minutes of rain. That whole weekend, making sure we have tents and making sure there's space for people to go. I mean, I can't give Jeff and Julie enough credit for the amount of work they put in, but I got to hang out and see behind the scenes of what they were doing to put it all together, and I got to see all the great staff and volunteers that they have again. Spend some time with them. Like I said, go out to eat, just experience all the cool parts of South Florida. Then I got to be able to, bring everybody in, greet everybody when Andy and Lindsay and Jen and Jazz and Taylor and Amanda, who actually came down, she was like doing double duty between coming down from Miracle League and then going on her honeymoon. She went straight from Miracle League down in Florida to her honeymoon. In Aruba, I believe, if I'm saying that right. So Amanda really got a good deal out of it. But it was cool. I mean, it really was like the best locale to have a national event and to be able to be a part of that and help. I wish you had a chance to come down for an event like this because you would have eaten it up. You probably would have eaten up the Florida Keys too, being able to go down and spend a couple days in the Florida Keys and celebrate the whole event with Jeff and Julia afterwards. That was, I'll tell you what, that was the closest thing to a tropical paradise that I've ever had.
There's always this year.
Hey, that's right. There is always this year.
Oh, are you going, Dan?
Georgia?
Yeah.
We're gonna be putting some names into a hat soon, so we can vote on our next family to go through. Is Macon, Georgia? No, not Macon.
Newton.
Look, he knows it. Harrison knows it. Newton County, Georgia.
Newton County. Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be able to put up the same experience that Julia and Jeff did, just in terms of paradise. But I'm sure they'll do a wonderful job.
I think the key is that when you put your players, you put the family and you put the players as the number one priority, that you want them to enjoy where you live, not just the field itself, but the surroundings area, and knowing that they're on vacation. I mean, whether their league is paying for them to go, or they're paying it for themselves, there's cost involved. You're leaving your comfort zone. So you want to make sure that it's not just a baseball weekend, but it's also a vacation time. So then you have to really think about what would everybody really like to do on their vacation besides just play baseball. So I am sure that while we raise that awareness, I'm hoping that the future hosts will do the same and include all of their locale awesome things that they offer to all the families that come and visit.
Julie, can you quickly just talk a little bit about? I mean, everybody knows like the Jersey crew, right? You know, we have our little crew, Andy and Lindsay and Jen and all of them, and we always fly in like record numbers down to these events. But it's like 1 and 2 between us and Palm Beach. Like, you guys have an amazing crew too. Do you mind talking about like some of the guys you have, the guys and gals, you know, your board members, the people that have helped, not just with your programming, but putting this big, huge event last November together?
Absolutely. Thanks for recognizing them. You have an amazing crew. Yes, you do. And we do too. Everybody that we have that works with Miracle League of Palm Beach County, besides myself, are all volunteers. So, for an example, Melissa Kling, she has been with us, I think everybody's been with us well over 10 years at this point. And Melissa came to us that her son was playing baseball at the field next to us, and she wanted to get involved, and the son needed hours, and it just snowballed into now her company is one of our sponsors. She's one of our board members. She sponsors the concession stand, and I call her my miracle chair mom, because she literally keeps me in place and shows me where I need to go and what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, and holds me accountable all the time. She's a blessing to have. Another person is on our board is Coach Teddy. He is a coach, and
Everybody knows Teddy.
everybody knows Coach Teddy, and Coach Teddy loves it when everybody knows Coach Teddy too. And he's just simply an amazing coach. You know, all of our volunteers, they just come at it with such love and passion. And somebody else that I really need to talk about, which I'm going to post either tonight or tomorrow, we just did an interview with Danielle Taylor. Danielle started with us at, I think, 13, 14 years old. Her brother volunteered with us, and she was her brother's sidekick, so she started to volunteer with us. Danielle is not only still with us, she is our board member, she is our volunteer coordinator. She became a special needs teacher because of Miracle League, and we have created such a close bond that there's so much love between Danielle and Jeff and I that she is getting married in a couple of weeks, and she asked Jeff and I to officiate her wedding. So we are a family as well. Just as the 609 is a family, the 561 is a family as well.
I like that. That's really cool. And going back to more of a different subject is, like, Dan, going back to what you said last week, Dan, is there was about a third of the Miracle League who participated. And, you know, the more and more people that take in this event, the better. So this past weekend was our first weekend of Miracle League winter workouts, starting to get ready for our spring season. Dan?
It feels like it's a long time away when you see like this weekend with all. We got a little bit of snow, but mostly just all that freezing rain this weekend. It was like in the 20s when I woke up at 6 a.m. and got to the stadium. But it is nice to be able to get everybody back into the stadium and start swinging the bats and using the batting cage. I challenged Julia to start putting together her winter training programs because, and maybe you could talk about this too, Julia. You have that great facility in the North County, in West Palm. And even if you want to talk about your relationship with Cresney and what they do there, and how you have such a beautiful field there on top of your Delray, your original field, which I absolutely love. So yeah, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about that and what they're able to provide, not only just with the event, but just in general.
You both brought up great points and great questions. And Harris, I'm going to answer yours first. Well, yes, there's probably only a third of the Miracle Leagues that attended All-Star. I wish there would have been more, and I think that there maybe needs to be more of an opportunity, or maybe more All-Star or more events, maybe just not one annual one. That way we can give more access and more dates and more availability for more of that families and the athletes to participate. I think once a year in one location, and the dates always continually change, so sometimes the families don't, and we don't get a lot that come from the west part of the United States. So I'm thinking, I really think that there maybe needs to be more than just one a year. Just my 2 cents. Dan, great point. We just started actually up in Palm Beach Gardens in 2020 during COVID. So our relationship with Cressy Sports Performance is amazing, but it's just in the new developing phase. When they heard that we were doing All-Stars, they really wanted to help. But don't forget, Eric Cressy, he is the pitching coach. What does he do for the Yankees? Something.
He's strength and conditioning coach for the New York Yankees.
Strength and conditioning, thank you. Strength and conditioning coach for the New York Yankees. So I know he was out of town. They all didn't come back until, I think it was literally days before the All-Star. So I worked a lot with his wife, Anna. Amazing couple, great family, adorable children. They came out in full force on All-Stars, which I honestly blew me away. I didn't know how much they were going to come out and support us. So you lent or put in my ear a very good thought to start doing some things in their facility next to the Palm Beach Gardens, and I will reach out to them. Thanks for the reminder, Commish.
Harrison, you asked me the question earlier. What were we doing those days leading up to the All-Star event? And the one day we went over to the facility, and we were Jeff and Julia were going over like a final run through with all the people that were working at Cressy, plus what was it, the Parks and Rec department? Am I saying that right? Just awesome people. Again, like you find out, like Harrison, you see all the businesses and the local people that support us here in New Jersey. You find the same thing. Like I feel like at every Miracle League you go to, these people come out of the woodwork and they want to help out. They're just awesome people. And Cressy and the Parks and Rec group down there in West Palm were absolutely awesome. But I'm sitting there, right, and they're going through the walkthrough, and I'm watching all the guys hit in the they have like it's an outdoor cage and bullpen area for pitchers to throw, but it's covered. It's completely covered, so it can be winterized in a way for Florida, with their winters. But it was really cool. So I'm sitting there.
It's only 69 degrees today. I mean,
I feel so bad for you.
Really. I got my long sleeve on today.
It's 41 as we speak here. So, but I'm sitting there, Harrison. And I turn and I look over, and I'm like, "There's a couple of these guys, and they're hitting the crap out of the ball. They're just crushing it." And one of the other trainers comes up to me and he goes, "Do you know who that is?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Those 3 kids right there are the sons of Raul Mondesi." And I was like, "Holy cow!" Raul Mondesi was a pretty good major leaguer. He played in the 2000s with a bunch of teams: Dodgers, the Yankees, Kansas City, I believe. His son's playing for Kansas City now, his oldest son. So I was sitting there, I'm looking at him, going, "Oh my God, you got major leaguers and minor leaguers like surrounding you, and these guys are just hitting, working out, having a good time." And I'm sitting there going, "Wow!" And I'm looking at Julia, I'm like, "You got to take advantage of this." So we're doing all of our winter workouts in our training programs. I'm gonna have to start helping them. Maybe I'll have to start going down there a little bit more and doing some pop-up work, helping out Palm Beach, running some of these clinics and whatnot.
I mean, it wouldn't be a terrible thing. I wouldn't mind. I think the 609 people might mind, but
We'll make it work.
do you remember who, I'm not going to remember his name, but Jeff would know the name. Who was the Marlins player that was there for the first game?
Oh, it was the pitcher. I can't remember his name
I
now.
had asked if he could throw out the first pitch. Harrison, this is the huge difference between Dan and I. Dan knows everything about baseball, and he knows all these famous athletes. You want to know how many I know?
How many?
Zero. But I know all of my children's names. The second I see them, I know everything about every single one of our players. But any famous athlete, jersey. I mean, so Anna Cressy has the pitcher for the Marlins, and she said he could throw out the first pitch. Now, I'm not used to having people throw out the first pitch, so we start the very first game of All-Stars, we just start playing. And come to realize that there's a very well-known Marlins player standing in the field. I was supposed to ask to throw him out the first pitch.
Was it Jesus Luzardo?
It was Jesus, yes. Yeah.
It was Jesus Luzardo. That's who it was. And Harrison, So here's another funny connection between 609 and 561. This is going back probably like 10 years ago, even longer, probably 10 and 15 years ago. There was a kid that was in. He went to Allentown High School, I think, and growing up. When he was real little, he went to a summer baseball camp that I helped run. This is way before I started doing Miracle League. And he got to high school, and I actually hired him to work at the YMCA when I was still working at the YMCA. And while he was there, he became a pretty good pitcher, and he ended up going to college down in Florida. And then I ended up going down there, and Lindsay, I recognized them. I guess Lindsay was closer in age to him. They were right around the same age. Andrew Lissy, who's from Allentown, New Jersey, who's the next town over from us, was down there. He works for Cressy. He's on the training staff down there, and we spotted him. We started. So this kid that I've known since he was like 6-7 years old is in his mid to late 20s now, living in Florida as a strength and conditioning guy for Cressy, who works for the Yankees down in Florida, and he's connected it's the old Jersey and Palm Beach connection again. Pretty cool.
I like that. I don't know about anything else.
Tire you out already?
No.
Harrison, let me just say, you don't need an all-star invitation to come play here in Palm Beach County. You have an open invitation anytime you want to come.
Do you hear this? She's trying to steal you from me right now, as we speak. By the way, Julia,
just borrow. I mean, it's nicer down here than it is up by.
Oh, here we go. She's stealing the Renzo. All these things are happening. Julia, I will say this though. Travis's mother, Jen, came in my office today. She had to pick up something, and she mentioned that she's going to be back down in Florida for that wedding because her stepdaughter's wedding is in October, and they're going to be in the Jupiter area again because that's where they are. And she asked me, she goes, "You think Julia would be okay if we reached out to her and saw if Travis could guest in a game?" I said, Thursday nights at the field in the North County. I said, I'm sure she'll try to steal you from me.
Yeah, I can't deny that. I got to tell you that.
I said, I don't think she'll have any problem with you guesting and coming out and playing a game.
Oh gosh, no, not at all. There are times that we've seen, and I'm sure you have too, families that will come and watch your games, and they're coming to just check it out. I don't know about you. I can't tell you how many times there were so many families that would come to the field in the middle of the season, just coming to check it out to see if it was for them and their family. And Jeff would throw a cap on them and a shirt on them and say, "Get out there, we're playing." So, again, they are, of course, we would love to have him come and play.
It's the best part of what we do, Jules. I mean, I don't know if you saw Jeff and his post, Jeff Fisher. And his post, they had one of their players move to Arizona, and they just played they played their first game with the Arizona Miracle League. So they posted a picture, and they were sharing about that. See, it's just cool. And then Harrison, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Guyana? With us for a couple of years there. That her family moved to Arizona, and she's been playing there as well. So, I mean, it's almost like this little network. I mean, it's like playing in the big leagues. Like everybody kind of starting to know each other. We're playing all these different leagues now. It's awesome.
And that's what I like about Miracle League is whenever someone moves, yes, it's different people, but they can still do it.
It's different people, but it's still good people.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. So Harrison, when are you coming down to Florida?
Look at this.
I was literally there the week after I went to Disney the week after the All-Star game.
Oh, you're Disney. You were still like 2.5 hours away from them.
Yeah, anyway. And I looked it up to see how far it was if I did get picked. And it was like 2.5 hours. I'm like, that's far, but we can make that trip.
I don't know if Julie and I are like really like setting up your parents here, and they're gonna be ticked at us, but it sounds like you might have to make a special trip down to Palm Beach. And by the way, direct flights, nice and cheap, right into Palm Beach International Airport. It's a great airport. It's like my new favorite place. But you can head right down there, and I'm seeing you guesting in a couple games down there in Palm Beach, and then maybe while you're down there, setting up and doing some more podcasts with the people down there.
You
got to grow the brand, buddy. You got to grow the brand.
That's what I want to do eventually. Is I want to try, and whenever we do these national events, especially if I go, I want to try and do a podcast there.
I'm just waiting for the angry text from your mother saying, "Dan, what the heck are you doing here? How much money are we going to be sending Harrison all over the country? You're going to be going to Florida. We'll send you to Pittsburgh with Tim. We'll send you all the way out to the 805. That's Rick Pena's one in Los Angeles.
I'd like to go check out the 805 too.
Oh, they're great. I love that Pena crew there.
They're good people.
This is it, right? They're starting it's their first official season this spring. Am I saying that right?
I saw they were having a gala, or they were having a dinner.
I did see that. They were posting a lot about that. Now it's time for us.
A little closer. I think I might have gone to surprise them too, but it's not that close.
By the way, we almost went this entire podcast without mentioning your boy Johnny Bench. You say you don't know Major League Baseball players. You know the greatest catcher in the history in 150 years, in 160 years of baseball history. You know the greatest man that has ever put on the gear and caught a game and then gone out and swung the stick. And you're like, oh, no big deal. No big deal. He's the greatest catcher ever.
I honestly think it's
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah. I think it's one of the reasons why he likes me is because he knows I have no clue who he is. So I will tell you a pretty funny story. I was visiting my cousins in Indiana. They live right outside of Louisville. And so we went to the Hall of Fame.
Louisville.
I got my spit going. Louisville. And him and I were already Johnny Bench and I were already kind of texting and about an event that we had coming up. And I wanted to make sure it was on his calendar. He's not huge in texting, but we were that week. So we're in the Louisville Slugger Hall of Fame, and I'm seeing his name everywhere. So I take a picture of one of the plaques with his name on it, and and I said, "Oh my gosh, you are actually somebody." He wrote back like, "LOL, go to this room, go check out." Like, I guess there was I said I already left, but it was like, he goes, "Go check out a room." Like, I guess there's a whole room dedicated to him or something.
Like I said, when you're the best catcher in the history of the game, you will have an entire room for you, like at any type of event. There you go.
Well,
There it is. There it is. Mr. Bench.
he's a good guy.
That was at the All-Star game?
This was at, Julia was saying, at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. There you go. On the Friday night event. It was absolutely beautiful. We beat the weather. thought it was going to rain, but we beat the weather. And Johnny hung out in the bed. Johnny, the next day, stayed for like a whole inning. We thought he was just going to throw out a first pitch. He was pitching to everybody.
Yeah.
What a dude.
And that's the other thing is that for anybody that's listening that is a huge Johnny Bench fan, if you already don't know me by now, fame does not impress me, money does not impress me, but character impresses me. And I didn't really know much about Johnny Bench's history, his career. I just knew he was a name. But I will tell you that that man has such character. He has such integrity, and he has a huge heart. And that's the way I know him. I don't know him as a legend, but I know him as a really great guy who supports our efforts here in Palm Beach County and in everything we do. So much so that Charlie's family reached out to us, and she said to me, I didn't know you guys were selling bats. If there's a way you can send a bat to me, I'd be happy to buy it and ship it. And I wish I would have gotten the bat, and I wish I would have had Johnny Bench sign it. And so I said, okay, she asked for Jeff and I to sign it, which I thought was very kind, but I don't know why she wants my signature. I'm nobody. But I said, sure, I'll sign it. But I called Mr. Bench and I said, look, there was a family that I didn't know we were selling the bats, and they would have really loved your autograph. And he said, come on up. So I went up and we surprised Charlie with a signed bat, not just from Coach Jeff and Coach Julia, but from Johnny Bench himself. And that's the man he is. He's actually very sweet. He's a sweet person. He's a kind and sweet person who supports Miracle League and everything we do down here in Palm Beach County.
And he would never even expect or ask for a thank you. He does it just because he wants to do it. Here you go. That's Christmas morning. Charlie's mom, Heather, sent me a video of him getting the bat right there.
Now I'm going to ask him about this when I see him.
Pretty cool.
He didn't even tell me.
He didn't tell you? Oh, man. You guys are like BFFs, too.
Maybe he didn't want to make you jealous.
That's true. I could see that.
But Johnny Bench is a cool dude.
All right.
Don't know him and his career. Just know he's a great guy. You know what else too? I will tell you that you don't know. When we sent out all the sponsorship package information, Johnny actually sent us money to sponsor, and everything that he did, he didn't have to, but he ended up sending us money to sponsor an athlete,
So
and then
cool.
came to all of the events as well. So much respect for him.
Came Harrison. He showed up in a t-shirt, like workout Adidas pants and penny loafers with white socks. Unbelievable. And you know what? God bless the man. More power to him. He pulled off the look. No one was going up to Johnny Bench and saying, "What are you wearing?" He pulled it off.
Well,
That's a Hall of Famer.
That's a prerequisite for anybody 70 and older living in South Florida.
All right. On that note, next week's guest is, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. Is it Eric from Playground Equipment Services?
Yes, our good buddy Eric from Playground Equipment Services will be here, and we're going to talk about the whole process we went through last year. So you will never notice this because I actually don't have any hair, but I just shaved my head again today. I let it go for a couple days. Everything is gray here. So if I had a full head of hair after 2023 with the field rebuild, it all turned gray. So we'll talk about all that.
Isn't somebody turning 40 in a couple of days?
Yeah, I guess. Well, we still have 22 days.
I mean, the gray.
As of this recording. It's Clooney. It's distinguished Clooney gray. That's what I'm going with. Harrison, great job today. Julia, thanks so much for being on. We love having you. You're such a good friend to me and to all of us, and you're just a great person. Jeff too. Jeff especially for putting up with you. I mean, the guy's a saint. He's an absolute saint.
On that note,
I totally.
But Jeff, hey Jeff, I don't know if you're out there in the background. Go Huskies. Jeff's a big Michigan fan. We're recording here right before the national championship tonight. Let's go Washington. Go Huskies. Go Purple.
You are no longer his favorite.
alright, on that, can you hear me? Yes,
Yep.
you can.
Oh yeah.
Alright, on that note, I'm Harrison Milo alongside Dan Schreck and Julie Kadel, the Executive Director of Miracle League of Palm Beach County, our guest for this episode. And we've already added on once. We're signing off.
See you guys next week. Thanks.